A very good afternoon to you, Nombu, and to our viewers at home. Indeed, that day is coinciding with the budget that will be presented in Parliament by Minister Enoch Godongwana. So they'll be serving a notice on that particular day, giving them 7 days to embark on a strike action. They're calling this a full-blown strike action, going basically into what has been happening in the public sector. You can remember that from last year, there were also just these glitches with government and the employer in terms of that unilateral implementation of a 3% wage increment. And the workers are saying this time around it will not be prudent, Nombu, to go into a fresh round of talks when there's still this element or this elephant in the room of that unilateral implementation. What they've described, Nombu, as just the collective bargaining that has been undermined by the employer here. They'll be embarking on a full-blown strike action, but before that, they'll be continuing, of course, with just mobilizing their members on the ground. And this time around, they are planning to ensure that this strike action is felt. But Nombu, something to notice is that they're not as united as they was last year. FEDUSA just saying that they are going to be, continuing, saying that it's time to just pick up the pieces and move on where this process is concerned and embark on this fresh round of talks. Something that these unions here, mainly COSATU, SAFTU and SAPU, are saying that really at this point in time, they don't see it fit to embark on a fresh round of talks when there's still that impasse around the unilateral implementation of the 3%. Let me bring into the conversation now Mr. December Mavuso. He's from COSATU. He'll just let us in really on what came out of here. We know very well that at least last year you were singing from the same hymn book with other federations, but this time around you're convinced that the impact will still be felt if you're still going at it alone without other federations like FEDUSA. Welcome to the SABC.
Yeah, thank you very much, and greetings to the viewers. Well, as we have announced in our statement, this is a continuation of the program we started last year. You know that we ended the year before the dispute could be resolved. Although the employer was hoping that we will walk away, we will accept and proceed to open new rounds of negotiations. There's no logic to do that from where we're sitting. The track record of the employer does not inspire any confidence that something better could happen. Workers can't forget what the employer has done to them in 2020, in 2021, in 2022. So that's why they are not prepared to submit to the policy dictates of the employer. So the mandate is clear. We're proceeding, starting on the 22nd, by the way. On the 22nd, we will be demonstrating outside the City Hall in Cape Town, where the minister will be delivering the budget speech. That is arranged, that is set. All the unions that are here, the members who are in Cape Town, they'll be demonstrating on that day. There'll be another demonstration in Pretoria outside the offices of the National Treasury. That is arranged, that is set. But in the different workplaces also, workers will be demonstrating in support of what is happening in Cape Town and in Pretoria. At the end of that day, at the end of those demonstrations, we're going to be sending a clear message to the minister that that's the beginning of a strike. We're serving a notice.
What are you worried about regarding this new fresh round of talks that are set to begin tomorrow? What are you worried about? Are you worried that the government would just continue to just abandon the process and implement the 3% or another percentage that is unfavorable to your workers? And you not embarking on a process of bargaining here, doesn't that work against the very same workers that have been reaching out to you as the unions to say they are looking for their lives to be changed, especially around issues of wages?
What we worry about is a continuation of a trend that has started in 2020. That government can just walk over agreements, can just decide not to implement agreements, can introduce new things. In 2021, the introduction of a gratuity was something completely different, unheard of. In 2022, unilateralism. That's what we're worried about. So tomorrow, they're introducing a new thing of offering putting an offer on the table without labor consolidated demands. Now, that's what we're worried about. That's erosion of the collective bargaining system. That's breaking down of this institution that came about as in terms of the Constitution of the Labor Relations Act, in terms of the ILO Convention. And this can't be accepted in the public service. It's a wrong precedent setting by the biggest employer in the country.
Just finally on my end, what would break the impasse? Are you still on 10%? Would you coming back to the negotiation table be through government implementing what you've been calling for last year, that 10%? What would break this impasse and see you embarking on this new or fresh round of talks?
Our demand is 10%. So what will break the impasse is the resolution of this dispute. In whatever way we resolve it, but let's sit down and resolve the dispute. Obviously, our starting point will be the 10%. It will be the function of engagement in terms of how the dispute is resolved. Let's separate issues. Let's close 2022 properly. Open 2023. That's how we conduct collective bargaining. You can't mix the two. You can't mix a dispute with new cycle of negotiations. That's wrong. That's completely out of order.
There's always been that issue, just finally on my end, around public servants that form part of essential workers. How are you going to navigate through that process, knowing very well that most of your members form part of essential services? Isn't that going to work against this full-blown strike action that you're calling for?
Well, there's always processes to manage that. So we will manage that as part of the process with the employers in the workplaces and so on. We will manage that.
All right. Mr. December Mavuso, thank you very much, sir, for your time coming through there from COSATU and just letting us in really on how things are going to shape going forward. But you've heard them there. They're resolute that they're going to embark on a full-blown strike action, also saying that they're taking issue with government's unilateral implementation, what they've called the undermining of bargaining processes, but saying that tomorrow they won't form part of those that will be meeting here at the Bargaining Council to start a fresh round of talks when there are still outstanding issues from last year. Nompu?